Hello, I'm with Rosemary today. Rosemary, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name is Rosemary Maloney, and I'm a flight attendant for 40 years.
40 years. Well, you don't look old enough to be a flight attendant for 40 years.
Well, that's so sweet. Sometimes I feel it.
You've been a flight attendant for 40 years. So you started, has it changed over the years then a lot? Have you seen a lot of changes?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So I started with America West, and we did a lot more service back then. So there's flights, we'd have sandwiches or we'd have food choices, where now it's just in first class. So we worked a lot harder back then, worked a lot more flights per day. Now, I mean, we still have a few of those, but usually those go to the more junior people. So it's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed for the worse. It's changed for the better for sure, even with the pay, everything. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How did you get into this field?
So my aunt was a flight attendant for American while I was growing up, and I'd hear her stories, and I loved the whole thing about it and how she got to fly and do all this stuff. So since I was in elementary school, that's what I wanted to be. So they would have career days, and I'd borrow my aunt's uniform, and I'd go to school in a flight attendant uniform. And so that was always my goal. I did 2 years of junior college, but you don't have to have college for this career. And then I just started applying, and I applied at every airline that I thought I would want to work for. Yeah. And I saw in the paper this little airline called America West that a lot of people haven't heard of, depending on how old you are. I didn't know who it was. And I thought, well, I'm going to apply. It'll give me good, practice for interviewing. And they hired me quickly. I mean, it was a quick process. I think I started interviewing the beginning of December, and they wanted me relocated by January 1st.
Okay.
I was living in California, so I'm like, yep, I can do that. And then moved to Arizona, and that's where I've been since. And our little airline just keeps buying up. It bought up US Air, and now we bought American, and they just keep changing the name.
Okay. So, so you didn't do you would someone need an education or any sort of schooling nowadays to
No,
be a
so
flight
now,
attendant?
yeah, no, now you just figure out what airline, and I would always suggest try all of them because,
Okay.
depending on where you want to be based, I mean, every base is different. And like now with American, if you hire on with us, they're going to put you where they need you, but then you can always transfer and you can commute. Commuting is difficult, but a lot of my friends do it because they want to do international or whatever. So yeah, you just put in an interview. Sometimes they don't call back, or you don't get it right away. Sometimes you've got to apply 2 or 3 times. If you know somebody that works for that company, they can always put in a referral letter, which is always helpful. So that's how my niece got hired on with American. Not That's not how, but I mean that helped, I'm sure.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So now there's three generations because your aunt and you and now your niece. Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So you lived in California and they needed you. I know when I'm on a flight, a lot of times the flight attendants are talking about their home base. So are there only a handful of home bases around? Because I know there's different hubs for different airlines.
Right. It depends on the different hubs that each airline has. Like we have bases Phoenix, Dallas, Miami, New York, Chicago. Where else? Actually, Miami. I think that's it. There might be a few other satellite bases, but yeah, so you could be based anywhere, and it just depends on, like, Phoenix is a very senior base. So we do have some really junior people, but they don't get the cream of the crop of trips because it's so small and it's a very senior base.
So when you say it's a senior base, that means that the flight attendants who've been with the company longer,
Right.
this is where okay.
Yeah.
And, and then when you said some do commute, what do you mean by commute? Like if you lived outside of Phoenix or like,
Right. So if you're based in Dallas but you don't want to live in Dallas, you want to live somewhere else, then you can, but you have to make sure all of your work trips start in Dallas. So you have to make sure you can get flights, and they don't pay you for those. You fly free, but it's standby. So if the flight's full, you're not going to get on,
Okay.
and
Okay.
but you have to get to Dallas. So it can be challenging. But a lot of people do it because they don't want to live where their base is, but they like the flying out of there.
Okay.
Most people that come to Phoenix they live in Phoenix because that's where, they are from, and that's where they want to stay. We do have some that live in California and commute because they closed well, if we have LA, that's another base. But they want the Phoenix flying. I don't know. So yeah, they'd have to, it just adds to your workday. So instead of having to drive to work, you're actually flying to work.
That's what I
If
was
that
going to
makes
say.
sense.
A commute for a flight attendant is a flight, not
Right,
driving.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. That makes sense. Um, so what does your day like? Do you have a certain schedule, like 5 days that you're out and then you come back, or how does that work for flight attendant?
So we do a bid every month and we pick the trips that we want. We have
Okay.
2 day trip. We have turn days where you just like go to Reno and back, or we have overnight trips where you'll do a couple turns, go to a layover. Like tomorrow, I check in, I go to Ontario, California, back to Phoenix. Then I fly to Spokane, Washington, and I spend the night there. And then I
Okay.
do one flight home. And that's a good thing about being a flight attendant. It can be very flexible. If you have a trip, a vacation you want to go on at the end of the month, then you can work all your days at the beginning of the month and have the whole end of the month off. It's so flexible. Um, when my kids were little, I worked very little. I mean, 40-hour work weeks. It's a 40, they call it 40 hours of credit a month that you have to maintain full time status. But our 40 hours is not like a normal 40-hour work week because it's not by that, it's by the flying time. So I may have 40 hours for the month. Like this month I have 58 hours, but I'm gone. I had the first week off and now I'm going to be working more throughout the month. So it doesn't count your layover time. It doesn't count your sit time. It only counts your actual flying time.
Okay. So that
So,
doesn't count when you fly to Seattle and you're sitting there waiting for your next flight.
right.
Doesn't count
No,
that. It's just in the air.
no. We get per diem. We get paid a very small amount for sitting there or
Okay.
layovers, but it doesn't count towards your hourly rate.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then when you do fly there, you said you get per diem. So that covers the hotel, or is that the per
that
diem is
covers.
for your sitting time?
Well, that covers food,
Okay.
basically food, because they put us up in the hotel. They choose the hotel. They get us to and from the airport. But then, depending on how long the flight, how long your layover is,
Okay.
you can walk, you can go do whatever you want in that city. So you can have fun. If you want to Uber somewhere, you can, or rent a car if you have enough time. We usually just walk everywhere, or if there's bikes, we rent bikes and just go and explore the city, you know, the per diem helps with the food and stuff. But that's really all we have to pay for. Or if we rent a car, we have to pay for that.
And when you say we, that's the other flight attendants that are
Yeah,
on there with you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you become good friends with those who you are with, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, the girl I fly with now, all that we it's called buddy bidding. So we bid the same. We just choose our bid and we bid the same thing. So they call it
Okay.
buddy bidding. So we always fly together. And so and she's been a best friend of mine for 40 years. So
Okay.
we know we know how we fly. We work well together. We believe in the same things. So it's just kind of fun. You know what you're getting when you go to work. So it's kind of makes it like little mini vacations.
Okay. That's awesome. So you
Yeah.
touched a little bit on when your kids were little. Was it
Hmm.
hard though to work as a flight
Yeah.
attendant when they were smaller?
It actually, for me, it wasn't. Things
Okay.
have changed a little bit, but you can still drop your hours to 40. Back but then, it was a little easier because on my vacation months, I got 5 weeks a year, and those 5 weeks you can split each week, make each week a month pretty much because you can drop your hours to zero and just get your vacation pay. Um, so I basically was off work 5 months a year. And then the times when they were babies, I was literally gone 48 hours a week. So I would just do a trip and I'd leave Monday morning early and I'd be back Tuesday morning.
Okay.
And it was great because I never missed any field trips. I worked at their school 2 days a week,
Oh my God.
and it was, yeah, it was not like your typical, it was better than a part-time job because even part-time jobs, you have to be there 5 days a week.
Right.
So it was really nice. And it gave my husband a chance to be a kind of a stay-at-home dad. He did work from home, so that helped, but it made him see what I do on a daily basis. He was like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do this every day?"
Oh, that's, that's very helpful.
It is. It is. So he appreciated me when I was home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then as they got older, I started working a little bit more. So when they were, I would say junior high through high school, I did for 17 years, I flew just Hawaii. So I would do one flight to Hawaii on Monday, I'd leave Monday morning, and then I'd be home Wednesday morning. But I'd
Okay.
have 30 hours in Hawaii, which was great. And then if it was like one Labor Day weekend, I looked at the loads were really light because they fly for free too. I said, hey, you guys pack up, come on my trip with me. And because the hotel is paid for by the company and they fly for free. And so they got to go to Hawaii a lot for their, while they're in school. And it was a weekend or holiday or whatever. So that was fun for them too.
Right. Sounds fun. I wish I was your kid. No, your
I,
sister.
kid, sister,
Sister's not.
brothers and sisters don't get anything except for buddy passes.
Yeah, not that free flight, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. You're not old enough. We're the same age, so
Yeah.
I couldn't be your child, but it'd
No,
be
you
nice.
can be my child.
Um, so you said vacation month. So what does that mean?
So the longer you work, you accrue vacation hours, and
Okay.
then so there they go again. That also goes by hours,
Okay.
and I'm trying to think. We get 35 hours a week per week of vacation, um, and they break that down, and you get by the time like at my status, I want to say by 5, maybe 10 years, you get a full 5 weeks. So they do it by days. You bid by days off, but they pay you by hours. It's really weird. So I'm up to 5 weeks a year, and you can put those anywhere you want. The downfall is you can't just say, oh, I think I'm going to take vacation next month. You have to bid them the year prior.
Okay.
So you kind of have to know if you're going to be planning vacations and what you're planning on doing, um, which at first is hard, but then you
You
get the hang of it,
yeah.
and you know when you want to bid. And obviously, most people want to bid Christmas off. I'm 40 years in, and I can't even hold Christmas in Phoenix. I can hold it off on the bid, but not vacation.
Okay.
So um, that's which is fine. I mean, I've never had a problem with that either. I only had to work one Christmas my entire career, and that was the first year.
Wow. Okay.
So so that works. And then if you do end up having a trip planned and you didn't bid that vacation, we have trade boards that you can get on and try and trade with people,
Okay.
which also helps. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I don't have anything planned that week. I can take that week and give you my, you can give me whatever you have." And so that works out well too.
Okay. So you're not necessarily locked in if something
Right.
comes up. Okay.
Same
So
thing with trips.
uh-huh.
When you bid your trips, if you decide, I don't really want to do this trip, you can trade your trips around too, which is nice.
Okay.
So,
So you're not necessarily locked in unless someone doesn't want to trade,
right,
but you
right.
usually can. That's pretty easy to do, usually.
Usually it's pretty easy. Yeah, it's usually pretty easy.
So I'm assuming once you were hired on, you didn't know what you were doing. There was a training that you had to go through. What is that training like?
So now it's different than when I went. When I went through, we were trained in everything because we were cross utilized. So back then we would work the gate some days, we would work reservations some days. They don't do that anymore. So now for people that want to be a flight attendant, you're trained on just being a flight attendant. And it's a lot. You're trained on medical, you're trained on evacuations, you're trained on service, obviously. That's not like the most important when you're going through training because they want you to know all the different medical, like you have to learn about diabetes and even childbirth because you just never know. They do give us a manual that has everything for references if you need it, but So that's the most strenuous. And then all the emergency equipment, fire extinguishers, oxygen bottles, first aid kits, you know, the EMT, not EMT, the all of a sudden the name just escaped me. Well, the ELT too, that's for water over water, how to get the rafts open and out if if you're doing Hawaii flights, or
Okay.
the heart rate, the heart monitor, not heart rate monitor, but the why do I want
Like
to call it the ELT?
first aid.
Yeah,
Um,
basically
red.
to if they're having a heart attack, it's a
Okay.
shock.
Yes.
I don't know why all of a sudden that name just escaped me.
The thing that's on the wall in places.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So how to do all of that, CPR, of course.
Okay.
Um, and you have to go through every year. It's called recurrent training. So you get trained the first time. And I want to say nowadays it's 8 weeks of training. So 2 months, I think it is. And then and when after you go through your training, you've passed everything there, then they set you up with like on-job training, and
Okay.
they send you out with flight attendants on a trip, and you can watch them and they help you, and you can see how it's actually done in real life, because everything prior to that is just what they're telling you in class.
Okay. Classroom learning.
um, yeah. And then they send you out there, and then once you're there, after you do that and you pass that, because the flight attendants get to judge you and say, yeah, she didn't have this down very well. And that's
Okay.
probably the easiest part, though, because unless there happens to be a medical emergency on that or evacuation, it's just basically service and watching how you are with passengers. Um, and then you're on probation, I think 90 days, where they just kind of make sure everything goes well and you're not, getting yourself in trouble. You're following the rules. You know, which, I mean, obviously, if you love your job, you're going to do it.
Right.
You're going to
Yeah.
do what you're supposed to do. And then you're done. And it's nice because you don't have supervisors breathing down your neck all day, or you hardly ever see them.
Okay. Because you're on the flight and yeah,
Yep.
unless someone
Yep.
reports you're good to go.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Which doesn't happen very often. I mean, they're pretty good at scanning through people. And I mean, in 40 years, I'd say there might be 5 people that I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to fly with them ever again," which that's pretty good for 40 years and all the different people you fly with throughout the month. So
Right. Yeah, and just make it through the flight and then it'll change. It's not like
true.
for the next 20 years I'm stuck with this person in the office that I don't really
That is,
enjoy.
yes, that is another good thing. That is so true. You fly with different people every week now. It used to be every month. They used to have a monthly one. You did the same trips with the same people for a whole month. Now it's trip by trip. So, I mean, I do fly with my best friend, but then we always have somebody else. And, it's always, if you kill people with kindness, they're going to be
Yeah,
kind back. I mean, that's just, even if they're grumpy or moody or
right,
whatever, you just, you can make them smile, then I've done my job.
right. Yeah, you definitely need to probably have thick skin, but also just be able to be the light in maybe you never know what they're going through. So,
True. That's
yeah,
true. And they usually, I mean, they've gone through so many people that we're always the one they want to get mad at, because we're their final resting spot for the next however many hours they're on that
right,
plane. So if I can just say, I'm really sorry that happened. I don't know what the whole thing is, but let me try and make it right, even if it's just giving him a free cocktail, or, just talking and just listening and explaining, I am so sorry, and giving them a route to where they could call and maybe get it fixed. Because sometimes it was a rude gate agent. Okay, well, then go to customer service and just complain if you got her name or his name, and
right,
just jot down something. Because I don't want that reflects on me too. I don't want my own people to be rude to anybody.
right, right.
So,
Your company represented that way. Yeah,
right.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Have you
Yeah.
ever had any terrible situations, or have you ever had any evacuations?
I have not had to evacuate. I've had to do CPR once. We get a lot of medical, and this was not a Hawaii flight, but that was way early on in my career. But you do get a lot of medicals on like the Hawaii flights, the night flights coming home, just because they have to check out at 10 in the morning, and then they're dehydrated because they're like, oh, we'll just hang out at the beach. And then they get on the plane and they haven't eaten, they haven't had enough liquid. And that's not every flight either. It just seems to be more on those flights.
Hmm.
I had a long time ago, way before 9/11. 9/11's changed a lot. It changed a lot on how passengers help flight attendants, how we're allowed to ask for them, the help. Because before it was like, nope, just have the passenger sit there, you take care of it. But now since that, it has changed. But I did have a guy trying to open the flight deck door when, not the flight deck, the airplane door, but we were 35,000 feet. Can't physically be opened, but and he kind of shoved me in the back in the galley like he wanted to go to the door. But that, like I said, that was a long time ago. I was young. I'm trying to think if there's been anything else. Not really. I mean, we've never had the oxygen masks come down. We've had rough flights, where it's really, really bumpy.
Hmm.
I have not been hurt in turbulence, but I have had friends that have been hurt. And it's usually flight attendants because we're the ones walking around. It's not usually passengers in turbulence. But
Because
no,
we're
I
still
really haven't.
seated because the
Right,
seatbelt sign is on.
right. And have our seatbelts on. So many passengers think as soon as they get on that they're up in the air. They're like, okay, I'm just going to take my seatbelt off. And I'm like, no, do you get in the car at 70 miles an hour and say, I'm not cruising speed, I'm going to take my seatbelt off?
Right.
And they don't think about that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, no, I have not had anything horrible. Thankfully, knock on wood.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And that many years, that's incredible that you've never had
Hmm.
anything
Yeah,
bad or had any like scares or anything like that. That's great.
yeah,
Um, I know a lot of people are fearful of flying, but for me, I'm like, I don't know. In a car, I feel like I have some control. Like I can tell the, driver, hey, pay attention, slow down, this, that. When I'm in the
right.
air, I'm like, it's completely out of my control. I don't even, it's whatever. For the next
Yeah.
few hours, it's whatever.
And it is still safer to fly than it is to drive. There are
I,
more people killed in car accidents than airplane crashes.
yeah, I believe that
And yeah, and
wholeheartedly.
so I try and tell people that because I know, um, I feel like, well, a long time ago we had a family on and you could tell they'd been in an accident. Her leg was shattered, the mom's leg was shattered. And I was like, oh my goodness, what happened? And she goes, well, I was afraid to fly. I insisted to my husband we had to drive. And we got hit head on. They lost their infant. And so she was just a mess. And it just broke my heart. And she goes, I guess from now on, I'm always going to just fly because that was horrible.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So it
terrible.
was, yeah, things like that. And those are things that happen that it just breaks your heart.
Hmm.
And being a woman of faith, I have had the opportunity, I should say, when something like that happens, I just, will get down with them and ask them if I can pray with them,
That's
you
awesome.
know. And I've had that happen on our Hawaii flights going to Honolulu, where parents are going to pick up their children that have been killed in war or killed overseas, and just to be able to pray with them and let them know they're not alone. I mean, that's something that's so gratifying to me. I mean, I don't go around praying with every passenger, but
Right.
when you see something that tragic and that hard, and it's hard, and they have a 5-hour flight to go pick up the remains of their kids, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
That's
So
awesome.
anything
I'm
I
glad
can do to
you're there.
help is makes me feel better.
Yeah. I'm glad you're there for them. That's cool.
Hmm.
Um, what's I probably already know this answer, but what would you say is the best part of your job?
I love flying and seeing different cities.
Yeah.
Even the Midwest cities, like Omaha, Des Moines, Iowa. I mean, you'd think nobody would ever think to go there, but they're just great little quaint cities. Seeing some of the monuments, you go around it like DC, and I mean, there's just so many places to go and see. I haven't done a lot of international. It's definitely available, but I would have to commute, and I don't want to commute. And I figure I can just travel there on my own time and go visit all that stuff. I don't get paid for that, but that's all right. So
Right.
yeah, I would say the travel part, and then the flexibility of the job, being able to just, you know, get the days off you need and have time off with your family if you want. And yeah,
Yeah, that now you're making me think, man, I should have talked to you when I knew you 30 years ago and
Exactly. I know it's been about 30 years.
yeah, yes. Darn it.
But you, it
Miss
was
that
hard because
opportunity.
yeah, but your husband was in the service. So
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked so well. I'd have had to
yeah,
quit and then yeah.
that would have been
Is it
hard.
too late now?
No, it's not. Well,
Oh,
Patrice Collins, Patrice
okay. Yeah.
Collins. So she used to, we'd go to lunch and she's like, I want to be a flight attendant so bad. I want to be, I said, well, join, come apply. Oh, I can't until Ethan gets out of school. And once he graduated I think it was high school, she applied at Southwest and she's been a flight attendant now for probably 15, maybe 20 years. I don't know how long now. So, and she loves it. So yeah, it's always available.
Man, I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
Um, so is there a worst part of your job?
I would say the hardest, I wouldn't say worst, but the hardest is doing like flip-flop time changes. So like if you go to Hawaii, you leave in the morning, but you have to fly home on a red eye. So you're working all night and you can't, we're not allowed to sleep on the plane. Long international flights, we get a 2 hour break. But like last night, I got home at 10 o'clock at night. I have
Yeah.
today off, but tomorrow I have to be at the airport at 6 a.m. So now I'm going to be getting
Okay.
up at 3. So, the flip flopping of hours can be hard sometimes.
Be
Um,
exhausting. Yeah.
yeah, it can be exhausting. But other than that, excuse me, other than that, I would say I loved almost every bit of it. I mean, getting paid better now than we used to. But even that, I'd say the good parts outweigh the negative tenfold.
Oh, that's
So you don't think about the others. And we have really good medical benefits. The medical benefits are great. Obviously, the flying benefits are great. Um, you can get time off when you need it.
mm-hmm.
So, and it's
That's awesome.
paid, a vacation time.
So, and the benefits are for your immediate family, they fly free, right? You and
Kids,
your
yeah,
husband.
my husband will fly free forever with me. And even when you retire, if you've been there long enough, you get free flying benefits for your lifetime.
Okay.
They fly free until they're 24.
Okay.
And then they call it what they call age out. And then they can use buddy passes that we get.
Okay.
They're a little bit lower on the standby list, but they can use those. And then their medical benefits run out at 26. Like I think that's almost every
Yeah.
insurance policy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, that's good.
yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here today. I was going to ask you a couple questions that aren't really work related. Um, let's see. Obviously, I usually ask people if they work in an office. Obviously, well, your
No.
job's kind of remote.
I work in a tube.
Yeah, there you go. And what was the first job you ever had?
Okay, this is my kids tease me about this because I've only had two my entire life.
Okay.
The first one I was working at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah, and I worked there for I think through high school and college, so 5 years, 6 years. The first part of that job, I was working as what they called PSA, so I go down on roller skates, just sweeping up trash, which
Oh
I
my goodness.
loved. And then I transferred to customer relations because I knew I wanted to be a flight attendant, and I figured that would help with interacting with people and give me more experience with that.
Oh, you were a smart teenager and
Well, I
you
don't know
knew
about
what you
that, but
wanted to do and you had a
yes,
path. So,
yes, yes, I did have that.
all right. So do you drink coffee or tea? How do you stay awake on those long overnight flights?
The overnight, I'll do coffee. So I will go to Starbucks and get a venti coffee. And when that gets cold, I add ice and make it a nice coffee. And what we do too, like on those Hawaii flights, you get up in the morning because you're up really early. We don't change our time frame as far as we go by what so I'm up really early in Hawaii. And
Okay.
then I take like a 3 hour nap before I have to check in. So I get kind of 3 hours so I can get a little nap. So when you get on, you're refreshed. But by the time I get home, I'm tired. And then I usually come
Yeah,
home and do another 4 hour nap. And that kind of makes my 8 hours for the day.
right.
So, but yeah, the coffee helps. And then I can't read or I'll fall asleep. So I just taught myself how to knit so I can keep my hands
Okay.
busy. So that keeps
Okay.
me awake.
I was going to ask if you read because I've seen flight attendants read, but I'm the same. I fall asleep if I read. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
wouldn't work so well. So you knit. Okay.
Yes.
Um, what's one career you wouldn't want to do?
Hmm. I would say anything with medical because I don't do well with blood at
That's my
all.
answer too.
I wouldn't even let my kids ride their bike if their dad wasn't home because I couldn't deal with the whole scraped up stuff and I just don't that and vomit, that kind of stuff. But definitely not the medical field.
The medical, even though you have to be prepared as a flight
I
attendant.
know. And I'll tell you, we've had a couple people fall, hit their heads, and I will be right there with the medical kit and like, here you go, I'll hand you what you need, but I
Right.
can't look at it. And there's
Oh,
usually, and that's one of the glory of our job, there's always somebody that can handle that stuff
no.
better than others.
Yeah.
I can keep the family calm. I can, but and they always say you're not going to know how you handle things until you're get in that situation. And but I think when it's an emergency, you just kind of go into
Yeah.
that mode of like, okay, I just got to take care of
Absolutely.
it, and you do
You
it.
do it.
But
You do what you got to do, and yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So,
yeah,
is your does your bestie handle blood well then?
she does better than I do.
Better. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Well, I also usually ask everyone what they would a piece of advice that they would give their 16-year-old self. Well, it sounds like you've had your whole life figured out since 16, since before then.
Always told my kids this. My thing was is find something you love to do and find a way of making money at it.
Okay.
Because if you love to do it, you're not gonna not want to go to work. You're gonna want to go to work. You're gonna enjoy going to work. And I think kids these days, and my husband was the same way. It was just like they wanted to make a lot of money. I was all about the money, but the money's not good if you're not enjoying what you're doing because you spend so much time at work.
Right.
So you want to be able to enjoy what you're doing.
You're spending the majority of your life at work. It's not fun if you don't enjoy it. So, yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm just like, no, let's just find something you love to do. And my daughter even says that flight attendant is her backup. That's her plan B.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm going to do this because I think I'd really enjoy it. But if it gets to where I'm like, yeah, this isn't as much fun as I thought, she goes, I'm going to become a flight attendant. I said, okay,
Yeah.
have a backup plan.
Yeah. Sounds like a great backup plan, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on here, Rosemary, and thank you for
Sure.
giving us all this information about how to become a flight attendant and what you do. So, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I
You're
hope
welcome.
I hope kids are enlightened, and we'll have more flight attendants out there.
Yeah. That would be great.
Is there a shortage of flight attendants? I know they say, I don't even know if this is true, that there's a shortage of pilots. Is that true? Do you know?
That is true, because pilots age out, so they have to retire at 65. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's not an age out time for flight attendants, but we do lose them quite a bit because either they get tired of traveling or they marry somebody that their spouse doesn't want them to be flight attendants because they don't think that they'll be home enough. So I wouldn't say there's a shortage, but they're almost all hiring.
Okay. There's jobs
So yeah,
readily available.
there are. Yeah. And be persistent because sometimes they'll turn you down the first time, but if you reapply, then they're going to say, okay, this person's really serious. We might need to check this one out.
Yeah, that's good advice too.
Yeah,
Don't just take no for an answer if you're serious about it.
correct. Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you.
you're welcome. It was nice chatting with you.